All right, hello, good morning. How are you guys today? My name is Chris. I'm a creative entrepreneur. In today's video, I want to talk to you about how you're self-medicating and how it's hurting you, and what you're really avoiding is the solution to everything, and you can stop self-medicating. So in this video, we're going to talk to you exactly about what you're doing to self-medicate. Well, let's even start with what self-medicating is, what you're doing to self-medicate, and what the solution actually is to the problem. Before we get started, go ahead and hit subscribe. I have a ton of other videos, and this video will be helpful. And if I create value for you, go ahead and give it a like. And if you got a question, drop it in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer it. Whew. Let's get started. So number one, what is self-medicating? Self-medicating is essentially doing stuff to cover up the harm that you're already doing to yourself. So for instance, like an example of what I was doing to self-medicate was I wasn't speaking up for myself. I wasn't standing up for myself. I was avoiding conflict. In order to deal with all that, I was stuffing it down. So then I used like alcohol, weed, nicotine, and essentially like binge eat like shitty processed food, and binge watch Netflix and movies just to like pretty much pull my mind off of what I was doing to myself and to soothe the pain. Because all those examples are essentially cheap dopamine hits that essentially give you a little bit of a high to make you feel good, and then you kind of crash down and you got to feel it no matter what anyways. But essentially what happens is like we go on these like false feel good loops, I guess we can call them, of cheap dopamine, where we give ourselves the hit, we reward our brain by bypassing the actual problem, and then we create unhealthy habits and dependencies that essentially harm us over time. And I didn't realize how much this is harming me personally until I just did a 30-day dopamine detox. And through the whole process, on my reflection yesterday, I was like, holy shit, I was self-medicating like a mofo, like so hard. And it's been crazy to see how cutting all that stuff out, it was the hardest 30 days of my life most recently. But I feel the best I've ever felt, and it's so remarkable to see how well I feel from all that, because I was like, this is gonna suck, and it did suck. But once I started handling the problems as they came up and was like speaking up for myself and not avoiding conflict but handling them one by one, like I felt great. And then I was like, my need for, or kind of my craving for like processed food and alcohol and weed and every other vice kind of just went straight downhill. And I was like, I think we're onto something here. So what you need to do is, number one, address like, what are you avoiding? Is it conflict? Is it the fear of standing up for yourself? Is it like the fear of confrontation? What are you avoiding? Everybody's gonna have something that they're avoiding, whether it's like commitment, connection, or whatever it is. And you're going to have to be real with yourself and then view what you're doing to cope with that. So unhealthy coping mechanisms are alcohol, weed, nicotine, whether it's cigarettes or pouches, binge watching Netflix, eating processed food or late night eating, watching movies, whatever the heck it is. Like when you feel yourself go into a pattern, or even like laziness and relaxation can even be like some like sneaky ones. But what you need to do is like see like when you do something that you don't want to do, so maybe like not speak up for yourself when you need to speak up for yourself. Then B, what's the next part of that pattern? Is it one of those vices that I mentioned? Is it solitude or pulling yourself away? Whatever it is, you need to identify it, and that's what you need to start removing from your life. But a really simple way to even just identify all these would be to do a dopamine detox. And I know it sounds a little scary, but essentially if you cut out streaming, movies, alcohol, weed, nicotine, music, and if you essentially do all of those, then you're going to find out real quick, like when you have that craving to reach for that stuff, you're going to be like, oh God, what am I avoiding? As long as you take the time to realize what it is that you're avoiding. Because in a sense, by avoiding it, you're not confronting it. And by not confronting it, what you're essentially doing is prolonging your, need to stay in that pattern. Because everything in life comes to us as a lesson. And the lessons we're meant to learn. But when we don't learn the lessons, they intensify. And as they intensify, our lives start to get destructed, or we're like, oh my God, this kind of hurts. Oh my God, what? Like, or, you get into the victim complex and you're like, why is this happening to me? What did I do? And it's like the universe is God, or whatever you want to call it. It's just trying to help advance you to the next level. But you're so stinking stubborn and so stinking adaptable that you've just been like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And you get sneaky with yourself. So this will really help you identify what aspects of your life you need to change. Because let me tell you, in 30 days, I was able to like see it, change it, and shift it. And even like yesterday, I hit the end of the dopamine detox challenge, and I was like, I really don't need this stuff anymore. And it was blowing my mind, because halfway through, like even 2 weeks in, I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to have a beer. Oh my God, I can't wait to get high so I can finally sleep. whatever it was like, oh my God, I can't wait. And now that I'm here, I'm like, yeah, let's just keep going. Like, let's dabble with some of this stuff, but like, no, let's keep this going because it feels so good. So what you need to do, number one, is identify what you're avoiding. And it can be whatever. Just be real with yourself. Look at yourself, and the more real you can be with yourself, the quicker you can shift it. Number two, you need to see what dependencies or what things you do to avoid it. Is it streaming? Is it watching movies? Is it solitude? Is it isolation? Is it laziness? Is it listening to music? Is it dancing? Is it, streaming? Whatever the heck it is, you need to identify what you do to avoid the pain. Or is it comfort food, And once you know what you've identified it to remove the pain, or if you're having trouble identifying it, do a dopamine detox. Like I said, remove listening to music outside of work, remove streaming, remove TV shows, remove alcohol, remove weed, remove nicotine, remove dancing, remove whatever it is that you do to numb yourself or distract yourself away from what the actual problem is. And before you know it, you're gonna be like, holy smokes, this has been holding me back. And once you can identify that, cut that out of your life and try to go 30 days without it. And you will be pressed, you will be squeezed, but the transformation that you'll make through the entire process will be so freaking worth it. You'll never look back, and you'll wanna share it with everybody like I'm doing right now. And I hope you do. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't. Drop a comment below if you need any clarity on this, and peace out, y'all. Have a good day. Woo!